And in 3, 2, 1. Try that again. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm out of here. Sorry, Sheps, you have to deal with it. All right, welcome back to the Third Wheel Podcast.
Well, hey, it was my turn.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, we're back to turns.
Welcome back to the Third Wheel Podcast.
At night.
I'm Darcy.
I am Caleb, and I'm excited for this episode. But why am I excited, Darcy? Please tell us what's in store for us today.
ASMR.
You've provided way better ASMR in the past. Okay. Good girl.
I can't wear these anymore. Take it back.
They're my gift to you, Darcy. Filled with 7 catchphrases from yours truly. Why'd you give me the worst can in existence of this audience? This is how she sees me. This is how she treats me. All right, Darcy.
That was okay. Are you
I have to
done?
hold this. Yeah. I can't put it down. It's going to spill all over the board. All right.
All right. So, we've been talking a lot about finding Mr. Right or settling for Mr. Right, whatever it's called. And it just brought up the topic to me. I know you are very newly married. And I don't know. Do you consider me newly married still?
No. It's been 5 years, right?
It has not been 5.
3?
It's been, so December will be 4 years since we met. But this past June was 3 years of being married.
Okay. 3 years. Okay. I mean, if you ask people who've been married for
25 years.
they'll be like, oh my God, y'all are babies.
Right.
Oh, just wait till your husband does this and that.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I could say that. Newly married. You know,
Right.
sure.
We're past our first year.
Which is the big one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Does it get better? I need hope.
yes.
No.
But I don't know. When you first get married, I mean, you're figuring everything out about each other. You know, I feel like, I don't know. Maybe not as much for people that lived together before they got married, but even then, it's still a little bit different being married. You know, being one, sharing finances, and not being roommates any longer.
Yeah,
you know?
we didn't live together before.
No,
we
we
got
didn't.
married. Yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't. I didn't.
Right.
So yeah, that's one thing that will be a little bit different for us.
right.
Going into it, we are living together because we're married. But
Yeah.
before we waited. So
Yeah.
that's a tough, and that's not easy to do. Let me tell
Right.
you. But anyway.
And I mean, like, we spent the night a
Yeah.
bunch.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I was over there all the time. He was over with me all the time, but we didn't live together.
Right.
So, you know, some of those annoying things, like the fact that he leaves his socks in wherever and leaves his hats everywhere. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know about all that kind of stuff, especially because when you're dating, like, you clean your place up, you make it nice, you light the candle,
For sure.
you make sure your dishes are done. But now that you're married, like, you don't really care to do all that.
Yeah.
You're not trying to impress each other anymore. And
Yeah.
so I think you get hit with a lot of reality walking into that, where it's like, okay, here's this person, here's how they are, and let's learn how to function together. And everybody explains, like, your first year of marriage is this honeymoon phase and
Yeah.
da-da-da. And it's like, no, that's a rough year figuring each other out and your quirks and what is, you know, what you need to overlook, what you need to actually talk about. Things that bother you that the other person needs to change, and things that bother you that you need to change in yourself so it doesn't bother you, and all the different in-betweens. So, I don't know. How are you feeling so far being, 2 months in?
Help me. Yeah. All right. Okay. So you asked me how long it's been. Oh, sorry. Can't put this down. I have my newest tattoo is the date of our wedding, which I did copy from you essentially. Okay, sorry. But we also put an inside joke. So, but the date was June 29th, 24. Okay, that's on here. Now I can't forget our anniversary.
I
So-
look at mine for reference too.
Yeah. So it's almost been 2 months. Almost.
Okay.
29th of this month will be, actually, what's today? Today's 24th. In 5 days, it'll be 2 months since we've been married.
Nice.
So, yeah. I can't forget now. So, yeah.
How fun.
Yeah.
For us, I guess, let's see, June. It's been 3 years and 2 months.
Cool.
So,
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Raise a glass to that. It's broken.
So, I don't know. What do you feel like you got kind of like a shock of reality, like trying to figure each other out? Or do you think you kind of expected some of these struggles?
I expected it.
Yeah.
I listened to the people around me, and everybody says, oh, that first, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
I will admit, you don't quite know what they're talking about until you're in that position. But I was expecting it, and when it hit me, sometimes it's been harder than others, but for the most part, I've been prepared. So, and I like I said, I listen to everybody who tells me what I think can be wisdom. I mean, you gotta pay attention to who you're listening to, but for the most part, I thought I had good people telling me, hey, it's gonna be hard adjusting. So
yeah, I don't feel like I really had that. Everybody like was talking about our like honeymoon phase and all of that, and it was just like, oh, this is a honeymoon phase. Like this is where I'm so insanely infatuated and in love with him. Like he's annoying me right now, and I can't figure out how to live together with him, and I can't figure out why he puts the toothpaste on the left side of the sink when it makes sense on the right side of the sink. Like, why doesn't he leave it standing up? Why does he put it in the drawer? I don't want to open the drawer to brush my teeth. This is ridiculous.
That is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But our stuff's on the left side. I just want to point that out. Both of us.
Ours is on the left side, too.
We're in sync.
I don't know. Or, like, we didn't have this problem, but I know for other people, trying to figure out what side of the bed you're going to lay on. You know, like, what if both of you lay on the right side of the bed? Like, who's going to lay on the left then? How do you figure that out?
That's interesting. The times I stayed the night, another thing, me and Maddie didn't sleep together before we were married. We didn't have sex, is what I mean. I stayed the night in the bed, but we did not have sex before marriage, which, you know, hats off to me, but I understand it. It's hard to do, so I'm not blaming anybody or talking bad about anybody that has done it. But, hey. And I also wasn't outing anyone, but here we are. Look, it happens. I get it. And, you know, and I will say, if it had happened before we got married, I was not going to be able to put the cap back on that.
Well, I told you that's what happens.
Oh,
the
yeah.
second you let the bunny out the hat or whatever you want to say.
I did not know what I was missing. My God. Holy cow. I had no clue. So if I had known what I was missing, I don't think I could have waited again.
Yeah.
It would have been over with.
Yeah.
So anyway, so back to what you said. What was your question? I'm sorry. We can go back and listen.
How do you figure out what side of the bed to lay on?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. The couple times I stayed the night, we actually, it was reversed on who slept on what side of the bed. So when we moved in together after we're married, we switched. And it wasn't that big of an adjustment like I thought it was. Sorry for that brief intermission. 3, 2, 1. All right. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh.
You guys swapped sides of beds.
Yeah, we swapped. I don't think it was that big of an adjustment. I don't think it was that bad. She acted like it was going to be a big deal. She acted like it was going to be this big thing she'd have to sacrifice, and it ended up not being that big of a deal at all. So, okay.
We've always naturally found like our side of the bed. I sleep on the right side. He sleeps on the left side.
But you keep kicking him.
Yeah.
Great.
But we've even tried swapping sides to see if that helps, and it doesn't. It's because I grew up as a kid. I had a queen mattress like my whole life, and I always just laid in the middle and like would starfish and like flip between sides. You know, I didn't have this like twin or full size mattress that I needed to stay on.
Yeah.
And so I'm used to taking up the whole space of a queen size mattress. Now we have a king size mattress now, so we don't have this problem most nights. But I also tend to try to like cuddle in my sleep. And so I'll just search, like sleepy search for him and find him. And then I start like moving around on his side. And he's like, bro, we have a whole king size bed. Like, get on your side.
The first couple times I stayed the night, she kept telling me to scoot over, and my nose was up against the wall. And she's like, will you scoot? I'm like, how about you go back to your side? And that'll make things better. You know, okay. I'd make a joke. She's like, scoot over. I'd slap the wall. Like, you know, I can't. That only happened like once, but it was funny.
That was funny. All right. So we got a list here.
Right.
This is what many couples experience problems in their first year of marriage.
2 months in, almost, and I can tell you yay or nay, is this true or not? And you can also give me your post thoughts 3 years from the fact.
True. Okay. The first one's disrespecting boundaries. One spouse may try to change their partner, which can feel like a personal invasion and trigger defensiveness or anger. Overstepping boundaries can destroy mutual trust.
Do you think that happened to you, or you did it to him?
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to think of if there's anything specific. Whenever we first got married, I was going through a lot. And you knew a lot of the stuff I was going through. So one of my boundaries was I didn't want people over if I was in the shower. That made me really uncomfortable. And so that was like one of my things, and Paul didn't see a big deal with it. So like if I was like taking a shower, sometimes if people from Bible study got there early, he'd just like let them come right in. And there was people that would be like 45 minutes early.
Yeah.
Back then.
I think I was one of those people.
No, it's someone specific I'm thinking of.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, or a couple specific people.
Sure.
And like those people specifically made me uncomfortable anyways.
Yeah.
And so like I especially didn't want them in the house while I was taking a shower.
Yeah.
And so
they're all sitting there trying to use their X-ray vision.
Right. And so it was just something that made me uncomfortable initially. Now I don't care. But I don't know. I could see it. If there was somebody that was over that I was uncomfortable with, I wouldn't want to go take a shower if they're there still.
I guess I keep trying to get her to be more social. I don't know if we call that a boundary, but it does. She's an introvert at the very heart of it, very much an introvert, and it's hard for her to, kind of come out of that.
Right.
So it's like I don't know. I do push her a lot on that. Like, hey, can we stay out longer? Hey, can you do this and that and this and that? Would you call that a boundary? It's definitely something she's not comfortable with.
Right. It's so difficult because you want to be able to push each other to go past your comfort zone, but you don't want to push that in a way that oversteps a boundary. And that's a tricky line to find. And I think that's maybe what it's talking about here is finding out how to push each other. Like, babe, we haven't gone out for a week. You're introverted. I'm extroverted. Get over yourself tonight. Or, babe, like, tell them to wait in their freaking car for 10 minutes so I can finish up my shower like I want to so that they're not in here while I'm taking a shower. Yeah. Like, just different things. And it was a weird thing. So Paul was like, get over yourself. And for me, it was like, no. Like, I don't care that I'm
I never
ridiculous.
once made the mistake of telling you to get over yourself. I do enjoy living.
He's made the mistake a couple times.
Among other things he said too.
Yeah.
Like take a nap.
Oh my God.
I cannot imagine saying that to my wife.
Dude, I don't know how he said that.
Or women in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like he even was trying to play like he was being nice and he was like, I could just tell you were cranky and didn't get enough sleep.
Yeah,
so I was just telling and I was like, bro, you do not tell someone that's angry to go take a nap.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's a perfect example.
There's a boundary.
Yeah. There's a very fine boundary that is well known amongst all.
Yeah.
So yeah, trying to think. We had someone that was staying with us for a time, and so trying to find the boundary of I didn't know how to give my husband the attention of like you are my husband, so I still put friends first.
Was this the guy or the girl?
Girl.
Okay.
Yes.
Guys and girl.
So
I don't know what I'm implying.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just work here, okay?
No, you don't. You do not work here.
Shout out to HDP Studios, or sorry, HDP Construction for letting us use this. Sorry, continue.
Anyways, and so I still had a tendency to put like my friends first, where it was like, oh, they need me right now, and so I go to be with my friend without checking like, oh, my husband needs me too, and making him first. That was a weird transition. Especially since Paul seems so like okay all the time. You know what I mean?
That's a good one. Okay, so I'm extroverted, so the line between having people over all the time going out when we're supposed to be having date nights, making plans with friends on a night. Okay, that's one. So date nights, Tuesday nights, she wants those to be me and her exclusively on a date. But I've made it where I thought, okay, that double dates count. I thought double dates counted for that, but they don't for her. She's like, no, it has to be me and you. And I was like, okay. Because she's introverted, but she's opened up herself to where I'm allowed to navigate with her in her introvertedness. So me being with her doesn't drain her, which is cool. That's great. I'm very thankful for that. But that doesn't extend to double dates or group hangouts. It's not a date for her. Has to be very personal time.
Yeah.
She only asks for that once a week minimum, date night, Tuesday night. So, okay.
Very reasonable.
That's a boundary. So there's one. There's one I can think of very specifically.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that causes people to not finish out their first year of marriage. So like a lot of these are also reasons for divorce.
My goodness.
Now, of course,
So on the boundaries one, I mean, people just never grow out of pushing your boundaries like that?
I guess so. They're just not respectful, selfish.
Yeah.
Don't think of others. We've been reading this book about this guy that's supposed to check off every single item on their list.
Yeah.
And at no point are they sitting there like, oh, my hair's kind of frizzy. So, he'd have to put up with that before I can put product in it in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's people that are just disrespecting boundaries out here. Some people will be very respectful while dating and choose to start disrespecting your boundaries once you're married because you're stuck and they're comfy. And now all these things are coming out about, people can be dating for years and it not come out. So it's really tricky. I don't think there's necessarily a specific timeline. I'd say if there's red flags within the first 3 to 6 months, like you can be pretty guaranteed that that's going to continue to get worse. But like I've heard stories of people that dated for 2 years, there was nothing wrong, and then year 7 of their marriage is when they just switch. And so it's like there wouldn't even be a specific timeline to really help with that. But if you see red flags, then pay attention to them.
They might be real.
Yeah, there might be multiple, and they're gonna keep coming up. Okay. Jealousy. A little jealousy is normal, but excessive jealousy can turn into a daily battle. Jealous people may be controlling, angry, and overbearing, and may lack self-esteem or have childhood attachment issues.
I don't have a jealousy issue, I would say.
I know Paul doesn't.
Right.
I'm trying to think if I do.
If he did, we wouldn't be able to do this. Like there's nobody here.
Right.
It's literally us two at my wife's work.
Right.
If he was the jealous type or if Maddie was the super jealous type, this wouldn't be possible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're good in that department.
Yeah.
Paul's not here. So you're good in that department, I'd say. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not.
I know Paul's not. I'm just trying to think because I don't think I ever felt like jealous. It wasn't like I was jealous of certain people or anything like that, but I was very insecure in the way that I needed him with me all the time. Yeah. Now, I was going through a lot, and I was having a very emotional time, and so, like, he was just, like, my emotional support human in that, and so it was just, like, I didn't even want him going to work. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted him with me, like, all the time to, like, help me walk through what I was going through, which was a lot. Like, it was a lot. It makes sense.
Definitely.
But, yeah, I wouldn't say I was jealous at any point.
My wife has people hit on her all the time.
Right.
It doesn't... The fact that she told me, I think, just gives me trust in her.
Yeah.
You know? She could have kept it secret
That's
and flirted.
fair. I've seen people try to hit on Paul, and then, like, it's normally when we're in groups, too.
Right.
And, like, I'll watch it, and it's really funny because Paul's unaware most of the time. And so he's just sitting there thinking they were genuinely asking him a question about this thing.
They don't care, Paul.
And they don't care. Like when we were on the cruise, he was at the casino, and he was spinning one of the things, and these two, like...
How pretty were they, Darcy?
They weren't pretty. They looked like you could offer them cash, okay? Like, they were...
How much cash?
Not a lot.
That was a big $20 bill you put in there, buddy.
Yeah, right. So they looked like what I would expect, like, hookers to look like on the cruise ship. Your wife is here, by the way.
Okay, cool. Pause. Again, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right.
Now back to our ASMR.
I'm not going to comment on this one. I thought about ruining it, but I was like, actually sounds pretty good. All right.
It did sound pretty good.
It did. I was like, ooh, I'm about to turn this up. All right. So.
Okay.
Jealousy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so these girls walk up to him, and I think I was standing with Drew at one of the other slot machines.
Shout out to you, Drew. You haven't been on the show, but maybe one day.
When Paul went off, and like we're watching these girls hit on him, right? And he's just oblivious, talking about, I just this one and this one, showing him the game, and I'm just like, Paul, they're not asking about the game. So me and Drew are like cracking up.
It's always the ugliest women too.
I wouldn't say they're ugly, but they look trashy was what it was. Like they looked like they're coming home from the strip club type of thing.
Okay.
Like they weren't ugly. They
I said ugly girls. What you gonna do about it? Send me the papers.
Would you stop it? And so
I'll be waiting at my house. You know where it's at.
Outside your job.
Yeah, outside my job. I'm waiting on them papers. All right, continue.
That was too much. So, anyways, we're just cracking up. And, like, I never went over there, nothing. Like, I just, like, sat there watching for, like, 2 minutes because I thought it was funny.
You weren't upset about it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And then Paul came over, and I was like, dang, they were really hitting on you. And he was like, no, they were asking me. I was like, Paul, shut up. No, like... They were hitting on you. No, I don't think they were. Okay.
They really wanted to know where my 20 was going.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And then once he lost it, they took off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I don't get jealousy.
But I know people that are jealous.
Yeah.
I got countless, like, people that have watched this show for a while know what I'm talking about. Like, countless stories of jealousy. I don't know if I outed who this person was. I don't think I did, but they were waiting outside their girlfriend's classroom because she couldn't trust him more than 5 feet away from her. So he's sitting there on his phone waiting on her to get out of class, still accusing him of cheating. One of my old best friends, all the time, she would say she wouldn't tell him that she left work early and would try to catch him in the act by coming home early an hour. You know, just all sorts of crazy stuff. So jealousy, I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
If they're a jealous person, though, if you wait past a month to date them, you'll see if they're a jealous person.
Right.
And you'll know whether you can put up with it or not.
Yeah.
So I
can deal with, like, if you have, like, insecurities and you feel jealous. Like, if I don't know, if Paul felt jealous that I call you more than I call him, I'd get that. I'd be like, yeah, you know.
That doesn't happen, for the record.
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Yeah, you're right. I'm lying.
I call you like 3 times a day. But like also like I do end up talking with and to Paul more.
Right.
Like and the only reason I don't really call Paul is because he's busy at work. You don't do anything.
He's
you
probably
just sit
on a
your butt.
How dare you? Sometimes I stand up. Okay. When you say all rise, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay. I do stuff. I don't know what, but stuff. I get paid pretty good though. Continue.
So, you know, like if you felt jealous about that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll make sure to call you more than I call Caleb or, you know, what have you.
Yeah, you'd adjust.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. I've seen it. I don't think I can put up with it. I know insecurity is different because we're all insecure, and sometimes you feel more insecure than others. But the accusatory anger, jealousy, you're cheating stuff, I can't do. I couldn't. Luckily, I don't have that problem. So, I don't know. There's a lot.
Yeah. So, moving on. Here's a really big one. In-laws.
Continue.
When you get married, you're joining your partner's family.
Yeah.
And it's important to communicate clearly about boundaries and expectations.
Yeah. I've known in-laws to destroy other people's relationships.
Yeah.
I think, unless I'm wrong here, I think you're okay in that camp, and I'm definitely okay in that camp.
Yeah.
Her parents, they help out sometimes financially, but they don't ever, as far as I know, they don't hold it over our heads. They haven't said, hey, we did this, so you have to come see us. Like, they haven't done any of that. They haven't tried to cut us out. From what I know, when my wife was in a bad spot financially, they didn't like, hey, you did this to yourself. We're out of here. You know, my parents, I mean, you know them. Like, tell me I'm wrong. They're pretty supporting. They're pretty, when I get in an argument with my parents, like, we usually work it out. So, you know.
Yeah. My in-laws have been phenomenal. I've gone to, I don't know. I hang out with them and call them, text them.
But it depends on who you ask. The person you hung out with today, if you asked them about their in-laws, did you talk about it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy.
And it's a nightmare.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to drop names or anything, but it's horrible.
Dude, it is so nuts.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I mean, I've heard that's like the stereotypical in-law story.
Yeah.
Like, you have a set of parents that are like that.
Yeah.
Where they're just overbearing, where they're rude, where they, you know.
You do this or you get no money from us.
Yeah.
You can't come over on Christmas.
Right.
You can't see the kid, you know.
Right. What do you mean I can't, you know, watch the kid? Like, I don't know. Like, some people don't want their kids' faces kissed on.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a pretty reasonable thing because
Sure.
a lot of people have what is it called? Herpes simplex.
Gonorrhea herpes.
And
up.
basically it's not like actual like STD herpes,
Sure,
but it's
sure.
where you get the blistering and
Right.
the stuff like that. And so if you're kissing on babies, then that's how most people get it.
Okay.
And so a lot of people are like, don't kiss my baby.
Sure.
And, you know,
I don't need to kiss your baby.
right. And then the
You're gonna live without
mother-in-law
that.
comes in and is like, but I'm grandma.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They have the worst herpes of them all. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've heard a lot of the horror stories and how people are just super rude and inconsiderate. I'm really thankful that's not something I have to deal with.
Yeah.
Paul doesn't have to deal with that either. My parents love him. They're great to him.
Yeah.
My parents are better to him than they are to me.
I feel that. My parents are nicer to you than they are to me.
Yeah, I know that.
God, I can't remember. I'll never forget the one time my mom just paid off your bill. And I'm like,
That was great.
I don't think mom's ever paid my bill. I've asked for money once just for like gas and she compensated, but you know.
And then she was like tapping you. She was like,
Yes.
Caleb, you chuck some
How much
in."
do you have?
Yeah.
throw some of that in there. I'm like, oh, rude. Hope you're happy. You stole my parents from me.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, your parents are very nice to me.
I'm kind of curious though. I think my parents would handle it okay, but I want to do like a test of like, hey, don't kiss my son, don't kiss my daughter, and see how
Yeah.
they react.
Right.
I could see her. Maybe I'm wrong. They'll never listen to this, I don't think. But if they did, I'd be kind of curious to know if that would bug them or not. And I don't care, honestly. Like,
Right.
I doubt my father-in-law has whatever you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I wonder if I said, hey, don't kiss our daughter or son, how
Right.
they'd react to it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. I don't know if
Right.
they take it well or not. So,
Right. Yeah.
okay, that's an interesting point. But that, for the most part, they're not overbearing. I don't have any
Right.
problems with them.
Yeah.
So.
I'll be interested to see how it is with kids too, because I could see. I'm not going to say which side of our parents, but I could see a specific one of our parents being a little too over the top with one of our kids and needing to like set some boundaries in place and being
Sure.
like, hey, no, this is my kid.
Yeah.
I'm not raising them that way, or you're not going to talk to them and say this way. Like, this is how we discipline. This is how we speak. I can see needing to lay down like.
But do you
some
think
hard stuff
they
with that.
respect those boundaries?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
But I think I would need to say it like a few times to get it
Sure.
clear, like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm not playing about this. And
That's
I would
fair.
need to be pretty mama bear in that instance.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're just going to sit there and be like, oh, well, to heck with what you have to say. You know, but I could see it's going to potentially be a little bit difficult to be like, hey, back up.
Mama bear.
I know your grandma, grandpa, great something, uncle. I know.
Yeah.
Take a couple steps back, please.
I don't think Mama Bear works for you. Not that you can't do it, but it just never works out.
Yeah. I was like, what do you mean?
That Mama Bear thing you did with that girl roommate, it didn't work. She went ballistic on you, broke into your liquor cabinet.
I
Stole your
did
stuff.
not mama bear her.
You tried.
Kind of.
I hope your kids respect you.
Yeah.
I feel like you're gonna put all your heart and soul into them if they marry some turd and they're like, "Mom, you suck raising me." That'd be devastating.
Dude,
I'd be sad for
Oh my
you.
gosh.
I'd be sad for
I
you.
don't know if I'd be able to talk to them if they did that.
Right.
But I don't know. When it's your own kids, it's a little different.
It is for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'll go really well, especially because, like, I don't know, we almost got to, like, experiment with adults about raising kids.
That's fair.
Where did you think I was going with
I don't know. We experimented with adults, and then you paused for a long time trying to come up with almost like kids. Oh.
Like, just with our roommates. Like, it
Yeah.
really felt like we were raising kids sometimes.
Other than one, they kind of turned out kind of not great. They didn't work out too well. That's what I'm saying.
Most all of them didn't turn out well, and the one that is doing well right now, I mean, he didn't necessarily like. We didn't like baby. He wasn't like raising a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he had his stuff together. We're, trying to be helpful and being like, oh, here's an affordable place. But other than that, like, I mean, he had his own job. He had his own stuff put together. Like, he didn't really need, like, help with a lot of things. But this other guy, it's like we're teaching him how to open a bank account. And we're teaching him how to, like, really basic things.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to say his name. Really basic things. Bare necessities. The simple bare necessities. Anyway.
I guess it did sound like I was going to say
For a second.
Yeah.
But that's only because I know who it is.
Yeah.
Continue.
And then with the girl, it was like, okay, let's find you a job. Let's get you a driver's license. Let's get you,
Yeah.
And then Paul's little sister moving in. And now she was easy,
Sure.
because she wasn't like going ballistic. But
you're teaching her at a young age to get your license, to do, stuff that you were teaching the 21-year-old to do.
Here's how credit works.
Yeah.
Here's how you mess it up. Here's how you build it.
Here's not how to hustle on the side of the street. God. Sorry, that was too much. No, what's the next boundary, Darcy?
Okay. Communication. Poor communication is the root of many relationship issues. Couples may hold back in their first few months of marriage because they want to appear well-behaved, and they may want to be more patient and cautious when arguing. So I guess when you're first married, communication isn't as good because you're trying to hold back and figure out what to say and what not to say.
Yeah.
And that can cause issues because then you don't say things you should, or you do say things you shouldn't, and all of those kinds of things. I think the example we brought up earlier for Paul was like, tell me to take a nap, or, for me, I think I get nitpicky sometimes.
Yeah, sure. I think it can be more complicated than that. Sometimes I want to find the line between she says something that upset me, so I'm upset, but is it worth bringing up?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because it could be small.
Right.
Maybe I can let it go. Maybe not.
But maybe it just builds and builds.
Yeah,
and builds.
exactly.
And then 6 months later, you're like, you and that stupid freaking sock of yours,
Yeah.
And it's like, where was this the last 6 months?
And me and her have both done that. It's
Yeah.
not just a me thing or her
Right.
thing. Like I've done that.
Yeah.
And there was one time I brought up an example that was months ago, and she said, "Why'd you wait till now?" It's like, because I was waiting on it to happen again, and you did really good for 6 months, and it didn't happen again. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's hilarious. Because I was waiting on you to do it again.
Yeah,
And then you didn't.
she didn't. Yeah, until 6 months after the fact.
Yeah. That's funny.
And then there's times where it's like, sometimes it does feel like when I'm having a bad day, and I'm there for her when she's having a bad day. Sometimes it feels like she's not willing to take the same on my end. So then I get mad about that sometimes. Like sometimes she won't be there mentally for me when it's my turn to have a bad day.
Yeah.
But that's just the first year of communication. Everyone's telling us it'll get better.
Yeah.
And we're we're getting help from all sorts of people.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's pretty normal. I mean, we're just now figuring out how to communicate with each other, and it's been
in what
3
regard,
years.
if I can ask?
Paul's very hesitant to share his emotions, and kind of from what you were talking about, like, is this an issue that actually matters to bring up? And for me, I'm very vocal about my issues. If something bothers me, I'm going to tell you.
For you, the answer is yes.
Right.
Every time it's worth bringing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But is that because you're going to win? Or do you do it with the intention of I just need to get this out there?
With the intention of I just need to get this out there.
Okay. You're not thinking he's gonna just fold and say, "You're right, I'm sorry."
I hate when you've been there. You have been there when he has folded and said I'm sorry when
you're like, I don't think you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not just looking for I'm sorry. I'm looking to resolve the issue. I'm looking for this to get communicated. I'm not looking for you to just roll over on your back. And if you roll over on your back, I'm gonna make sure to pick you back up and be like, no,
we're not done yet.
Yeah. You literally. That's
you're
what
right.
I say. That's what I say. I'm like, I don't think you are.
You're right.
We can. Let's talk about this some more. Do we need to talk about this in the room? Because let's talk it out. Let's hash it out because this isn't okay.
Yeah.
And so for me, because I'm so vocal and out there with everything, Paul has a hard time because he's kind of scared if he mentions something that I'm doing wrong that I'm just gonna like attack him over it and just like not even listen to him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I mean, we're talking about stuff right now and I'm not like, I don't really know how to show you that I don't unless you start doing this. And if I start doing that, then point it out to me and tell me to quit. Like I'm not like ruthless with him, you know what I mean? Like I could be.
That's what I meant. You have the potential to be if you wanted to.
Yes.
That's how I meant to phrase it.
I don't.
Pause.
Saying can.
Press play. I got a black eye.
Yeah.
What I meant to say was, I want to retract my previous comments. Yeah. Wait, I didn't hit not record. Oh.
Say it. Make sure you're pronouncing the W in your ow a little better on that.
I made full eye contact with you on that one.
I know. I don't like this.
What's the next point, Darci?
Money.
I miss these episodes. We haven't had one of these in a long time.
I know. I think that's why we're so giggly right now.
I know. No kidding. Oh my God. All right.
Yeah. Financial pressure can lead to arguments and catastrophic relationship issues if not addressed properly. That was a huge issue for us when we first got married.
Mm-hmm. What regards?
Paul's a spender.
Mm-hmm. He also was having trouble, I guess, holding a job for a minute.
Yeah, but that wasn't necessarily his fault. That was just life and people not supporting him and being understanding and stuff. I'm not mad about the job losses.
I'm more so thinking about the was it Burlington Coat Factory thing? Was that it? Because at first he was like, I'm not taking that because that's what I was
because it's only this much pay, and I was like, well, you're getting paid nothing right now,
right?
So take it, because what if it takes 6 months to get a job?
Yeah.
You know, like
because we know people who will abandon a job at the drop of a hat.
Yeah,
you know, so yeah, that's what I was referring to. Like he was like, that job's not for me. I'm not taking it.
His is more so debt. Because once I talked to him about Burlington, was like, no, you're making no money right now. Some money is better than no money.
Right.
He listened and he took it.
Yeah.
Now, what he had a problem with was borrowing money from friends. Yeah. And like constantly, not even living paycheck to paycheck, like living in debt to living in debt, you know?
Yeah.
And so I used to tell him all the time, like, hey, let's not do that, da-da-da. And he's learned, he's gotten really well. He's actually pretty okay with money right now.
Great. I've noticed that you've been pretty financially sound.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's come around a lot. But that first year...
You had a lot of work cut out for you.
I called each and every one of his friends individually and said, if Paul asks you for money, do not give it to him. If we need money... I will call and ask. Yeah. If we are in that hard of a spot where we're about to not make bills, we're about to lose our car, we're something, I will make the phone call and I will ask for help. If Paul asks for help, tell him no. Yeah. And then, you know, I don't know if he knows I did that. Right. He might know now.
Yeah, okay. But if he watches this show.
There's no reason for him to be mad at me about that, you know? Mm-hmm. We made it work. Right. And so,
Y'all are great now financially.
Yeah. And then I pretended like I didn't have the money and let him struggle and panic. And he called each and every one of his friends, and every one of his friends told him no. And there was one friend that almost caved, and I told him, and I was like, I have the money for this bill. I have it, but let him panic. Like, this is good for him.
Jeez. I didn't. You might have told me this, but I'm really listening now. It's like it's like I'm hearing it the first time. That's crazy.
And so I wait, and like he was freaking out, and he was like, I don't have the money to make this bill, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do. To get the point across of like, you can't rely on your friends to be paying for your stuff. You can't be asking for money from your parents. Like you need to bare minimally live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Like at the bare minimum.
It sucks to be at $0, but if your bills are paid off and you're at $0,
right.
Great.
Right.
You know.
And so, yeah, the final days were coming up, and then I was like, oh, look at that. I just so happen to have extra money to be able to cover this bill. And then sent
thank
him
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I sent him the money for it. Cool. And he quit calling his friends after that.
I bet. Man, that was a tough lesson to learn. You did pretty good teaching them that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
He did it happened pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people might say like that's manipulative or wrong or abusive.
Sometimes that was it's not like you were doing it for personal gain.
Right.
Other than to screw his head on tighter.
Right. Yeah, because he wasn't listening.
Right.
And like, it wasn't even that he was borrowing money to pay the electricity bill. He's borrowing money to pay the electricity bill because the money that he borrowed last month, he spent on shoes.
Yeah.
So it was like,
right.
No.
Yeah.
Quit buying things for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because then he'd pay back his friend, he'd get his paycheck and be like, oh, I have all this money now. And then he'd go buy himself a new pair of shoes and the shorts and the this and the that. And then bills came back around and he didn't have enough for it again. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, we are nipping this in the bud. And I did. Yeah. And it hasn't been a problem since then.
I say we haven't had any financial struggles. Right now we're saving for a house and we're doing really good.
Yeah.
We have enough right now for 10% on a certain price range in this economy. You know what I mean? On a decent house. I'm not going to say how much, but we have enough, you know, and the market's getting better. It's going down. We might even be able to do a bigger house by the time the market goes the way it's going, you know. So we're doing pretty good on that.
Right.
Luckily, and this was something I look out for, was like, you know, how often will she overdraft? How often will her account hit zero? Stuff like that. Does she have any debt? She didn't have any debt. I had the debt.
Must be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, her parents have been very helpful in that as well. When we have car issues on her end, not on my end, I pay for it.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. But on her end, if she's having car issues, her parents have stepped in and helped. So I'm very blessed in the money department for me and her. Now, if things got tough for us at some point, it's yet to be seen how we would handle that. And I say I don't think I'd have money issues. I don't think she would either. I think we've been very communicative, but only time will tell if things go bad, how that would be handled.
Because generally when people get married, you have a spender and a saver.
I think I'm the spender.
You think you're the spender?
I think so. Yeah. Before me and her met, she had more savings than I did.
Gotcha.
Before I started focusing on a house, she had more money in the bank than I did. I'm the one who'll buy the dumb stuff, like this equipment, like this camera right here is $2K. The sound system was also $2K. Now it was spread out over time. I didn't just do it,
right?
But anytime
and a hobby.
But when I had cash set aside, that's when I was like, hey, let's just go ahead and buy some new microphones. You know, I've never gone under, but I've never had a decent savings until we got married.
I guess that just surprises me because you've always been like financially stable, where you've never really needed like assistance.
Oh, you mean like I've always paid your bills?
That was one time.
No. Yeah, no. I've lived paycheck to paycheck, but I've been told people live by their means. So like if you make more money, you're going to spend more money, and that's how I did it. So I would always be at zero up until I got married, and I was like, okay, we need actually saving for a house, and we've gotten there pretty quick, but it took a big adjustment on my end. So
fair. Yeah. Paul's definitely the spender. I am finding out though, I am better at paying off debt. Or wait, hang on. I'm better at saving money than I am paying off debt. And Paul's better at paying off debt than he is saving money. Because for me, when I start paying off debt, I get a little anxious. I'm going to overpay it and not have money to fall back on. But with savings, dude, I'll throw that stuff in savings all day because
Yeah.
at the end of it, if there's an emergency, I have stuff to pull back out of. But paying off debt at an excessive amount makes me anxious.
Yeah.
If I have $10,000 in savings and I'm going to pay 5K of that, use 5K of that to pay off debt, it makes me anxious because
Yeah.
now what if I have a $10,000 medical emergency?
It's tough for me because part of me wants to take our savings for a house and just pay off my student loans. I don't have that much, but it would set us back a bit.
I don't pay attention to student loans. So when I think of debt, I won't even think about student loans, honestly.
You
That's in a total separate category.
But you're
It's too much for me to tackle that on right now.
But you're current on your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you're fine,
Yeah.
I guess. I still put it in there because it's still money you owe.
I'll put it in there eventually, but that's the last thing we're going to get to.
Sure.
We got to focus on the credit cards, the personal loans, the
because those have
cars.
have a higher interest than
Way
student
higher.
loans. Yeah.
Yeah.
My loans are at 0, which
Yeah.
is great. That's not normal, but
Right.
I got into college kind of early, so
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah, Paul's student loans are at 0% as long as he is actively enrolled.
Yeah.
And after not being actively enrolled for, I think it's 2 years, is when it starts picking back up on the payments.
Is he enrolled? I feel like it's been way past 2 years.
He just now started making his payments.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
but he is trying to. He was initially going to go again in the fall, but that got changed to hopefully the spring.
Okay.
There's just too much life stuff going on right now to pile college
Yeah.
on top of that.
No kidding.
Okay, so another one. This one is surprising to me. In the first year of marriage, a lot of couples experience problems, including infidelity.
First year? Goodness.
Yeah, I know, right?
Maddie's
That's so shocking.
Maddie is so cool. She's not the jealous type, but if I ever did cheat, my life would be over. It'd be a hell. Because she has the potential. The foundation's there. If she wanted to be that way, she could. My
Right.
life could be miserable.
Right.
I cannot imagine screwing up in that way
Yeah.
and then my life being flipped upside down. Like, I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's if she decided to stay.
Right.
But I wouldn't be able to go anywhere. I wouldn't be able to go, I'd be texting her every 5 seconds. Like, she'd be checking my phone.
Yeah.
Reasonably so.
Mhm.
But, it just, my life would be hell.
Yeah.
It's like, if I can't even dream of messing up in that department.
It just shocks me that that's like a.
Also, I love her, but but also I want my life to stay the same. I love it. I love my life and my wife. Sorry, continue.
She's just holding a gun in the corner over there. Yeah.
I'm so happy.
The camera cuts to
Yeah,
her. That I understand infidelity is a very common thing that a lot of couples deal with, and potentially more than we realize, at least in some form or fashion, especially if you consider porn to be cheating.
Yeah, I was about to say people's definition of
Right.
infidelity, even according to the Bible.
Yeah.
According to the Bible, looking at another woman a certain way is adultery
Right.
in your heart.
Yeah.
So
And so I guess it depends, because if you're considering, I guess I wasn't supposed to use the big P word, but if you're looking at
corn.
yeah, if you consider corn to be cheating, if you consider admiring someone to be cheating,
Yeah.
then all of us have had infidelity,
No.
I guess, at some point.
I got some good-looking guys in my group.
But if you're talking, and I'm assuming, based off of Google, since I'm not on some Christian website, that when it says infidelity, it's talking about cheating,
Yeah.
like going out with somebody else, whether that ends up with a date, kissing, a hookup, another relationship. That's what I'm assuming it means by infidelity.
Right.
And that shocks me that can happen in the first year.
Yeah.
It shocks me that happens in general,
Right.
honestly.
But the first year, my God,
Yeah.
dude. Ugh. Yeah. I can't imagine, and I have no intention to cheat 7 years down the line, but it's out of the question. The first year, God.
Right.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
I can see once you're not I can see oh, I
Yeah.
get it, it's fine. But if you're 10 years in,
Right.
you've had kids, you're feeling bored with each other, you're in the roommate stage, and you take things a little too far with someone. I can see how people get to that point if you're, having some of these other issues of in-laws being overbearing, disrespecting boundaries,
Yeah.
poor communication, money issues. I can see how over time infidelity can get added to that list. And that's kind of how it does get added to that list, is breaking some of these other things.
Hold on. I gotta start these cameras over.
Okay.
All right.
So, I can see how you get broken down and worn down over years and years and years.
The first year? Yeah. Your love should be at the highest point.
I know.
Yeah.
What is that?
I should be in love with Maddie that first year.
Right.
Like I am mesmerized.
Yeah.
I can't take my eyes off of her.
Right.
Nah, I cheated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
is mind-boggling. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And then we do have the last subject.
What?
What? Intimacy. That is a big first year problem for
Really?
people.
Why? Because the same thing should be at the height.
Yeah, but you're also discovering each other and figuring out, kind of like we talked about earlier, like figuring out how to push each other without overstepping boundaries.
I'm discovering myself. Let me tell you. Oh.
Okay, and me saying I went skinny dipping was too far.
Yeah, way too
that
far.
was too far.
Yeah, I don't need to see that. Picture that. I don't need to. Okay.
I don't need to picture you howling, discovering yourself. So you know what?
Yeah, because I totally do. Oh. Bow wow wow.
Okay, you're done. So
Sorry.
couples may feel less excited about their sex lives over time, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy and doubt. So I guess maybe.
But the first year?
I guess so. I mean, yeah, I can see that. Your first 3 months, you're like freaking bunny rabbits, and it's so exciting, and it's like, oh my gosh, here's this thing that we get to do now, and it's not wrong, and you know, at least from a Christian perspective. Non-Christian perspective, maybe it's not quite as like hyped in that first little bit because it's something that, you know, you've been able to partake in and it not be considered wrong per se. But, you know, especially for Christians, it's like, ooh, we've been holding out for this. So you're like excited, you're going. And then, you know, work gets more, you get more tired. And now all of a sudden you're sitting there and it's like, or the wife, for me, I relate on the woman's side. Like the woman sits there like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 days and he hasn't tried anything. Why isn't he noticing me? Why isn't he paying attention to me? Why is 3 days going by and nothing's happening? Or maybe for the guy, he's noticing the girl's drive is lower. And it's like, oh my gosh, I mean, I didn't expect this to be the problem because when we first got married, it was twice a day and now it's every other day and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I can see that happening within the first year. A year is a long time to be with someone. As far as being married and living together, I mean, think about roommates you've had for a year and how much you've gone through on the almost a honey moon roommate stage, where it was like, you know, one of the guys we trash on that lived with us, we had a honeymoon roommate phase with him where he came home and he was doing the dishes because he was so thankful that we were helping him out and that he was there.
God,
and he
how
took
that felt.
his dog on walks all the time and made sure to clean up immediately when he went to the bathroom in the backyard and he noticed the trash was full.
Box.
Yeah, right. You know, so it's just like
Went straight to hell.
right, you know, yeah. And so it's like, I don't know, especially if you start getting more selfish in your intimacy, where it's like in the beginning you're just trying to please the other person and you want to do all these things for them, and then eventually it's like,
Then you're
okay,
pump and dump.
you know, yeah.
I wasn't talking about me. I was talking about in general. Picture who you think about and picture a pump and dump. Why are you looking at me like that? I was agreeing with you.
I thought you were calling Maddie the pump and dump. That's fine.
She can't pump.
But I thought you were
Nor
saying
can she
she's
dump.
But I thought you were saying like
No.
she's the dumpster
That doesn't.
to the pump and dump. And I got really grossed out and like I don't know. Anyways, so
That doesn't even make sense.
where are you dumping it?
All right, maybe.
What are you pumping into?
All right, look.
Don't act like I'm the crazy one here.
You're psycho.
Don't act like I took this out of
All
context.
right. You got a point. You got a point.
I know I do.
Okay, fine.
Maybe
Smarty
this is why Paul doesn't want to argue with me.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know I am.
All right, continue.
But it gets to a point where it's like, oh, my head hurts today. I don't feel like doing the work. You become a little pillow princess, maybe. I don't know.
But that happens to most women. Most women, Darcy. Like, you have to, as a man, you have to go into it thinking it's going to get that way eventually. And if not, great.
Right.
Okay. If she is high drive your whole marriage, that's fantastic. But for the most part, you kind of have to accept that. I'm not saying it's going to be once a year, but, you'd be lucky sometimes to get once a week.
Yeah.
And that's just, me, I wanted to be married. I wanted to meet somebody that had great chemistry with, and we'd have great times and hour dates and hours conversations. And I have that. So for it to be like, oh, wow, she doesn't sleep with me as much, God, I have to get out of this. Like, the next girl you find, unless you just start sleeping around again, the next girl you marry is going to have the same issue in X amount of years.
Right.
That can't be your only reason to be married.
Right.
Because it's going to die out. And sometimes the guy's not in the mood either.
Right.
Sometimes on my end, I'm too tired. Not all the time.
Right.
But sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it switches too.
And that thing says the first year, but my God,
Right.
if that's the first year, the rest of your life's going to suck. Sorry.
Well, drives come and go. They pump and dump.
They back up. You hear the beeping sound.
beep.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can circle back. Hold on, I missed my turn. You can circle back around to it. All right. Make a U-turn here at the next light.
But
Don't say that again. That was disgusting.
me.
Yeah, you. It's fine when a guy says it. When a girl says it,
Yeah,
oh,
you're right. Right. You're right.
Stinks in here.
I know. That was so
That was-
bad of me.
That was foul.
I almost
as you
said
would
foul
say.
also.
Yeah.
I was about to say something else, but I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, don't. Okay, now say it. I want to know.
I was about to be like, yeah, that made me sound like a really dirty girl.
On that note, it's probably time to.
But I didn't mean it that way. That's why I chose different words. But then I thought about it and I was like, oh no.
A what?
And with that.
Yeah, that's probably okay. Was there anything else on there?
No, that was the
Okay.
last item.
All right. Intimacy. I don't know, because you're talking about it fizzling out over time. But the first year, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm sorry. If it fizzles out the first year, yeah, you're probably not gonna have a lot of sex in your marriage,
Right.
But
I don't know. But
It's
I mean, like
tricky.
I said, it changes. Like you're not gonna uphold this like 3 times a day every single day for a whole year. If that, you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
it changes.
for sure.
Or like Paul, like with some of the stuff we were going through, had a really low drive. And trying to figure that out on why there'd be gaps and stuff like that. And now, like, sometimes it feels like his drive is higher than mine right now. And that's never been the case our whole marriage. So it's like, what is going on?
ain't complaining.
Right.
I know you ain't crying about that. Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Sometimes it switches partners on drives and stuff like that. But I would say your first year is a indication of, whose is higher, whose isn't,
Yeah.
what that looks like. And so some people may have problems with that because when they were dating, it was 3 times a day and all of that. And now they got married, and 3 months later, it's 3 times a week, and they're unsatisfied.
Yeah. No, I'd get tired out if it was that many times anyway. So I don't know. Well, I don't know. The first year, it's only been 2 months, but it's been great.
Well, you guys have known each other in a year now, right?
Yeah.
This is around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got married, I think, 8 months into being together.
I thought it was
something like
10
that.
months.
Maybe. Yeah, I think you're right. You know better than I. Well, you do listen to me more than I listen to myself.
No, I was just listening to Maddie.
That's
I
fair.
wasn't listening
That's
to you.
fair. That's fair. We talk for 5 hours. You don't hear a word I say.
Yeah. I just wait for my turn to talk.
Yeah. It's just me all the time.
I'm
Yeah.
just in there. Is it my turn yet?
All right. Well, happy first year to not Darcy because it's been 3, and happy not first year to me because it's only been 2 months. But I'm glad we got this discussion in here,
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about how mine's going, talk about how yours went, started from the bottom, now we're here. I will never do that again. I definitely started from the bottom. Now I'm at the top. You know what I mean? You were there at my lowest single point.
You were there at my lowest marriage point.
That is fair.
Point.
Plural.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are married, if it's been less than a year, longer than a year, tell us in the comments what's something you felt you were struggling with.
You never asked for comments before. That's great. Look at that. She's engaging with the audience now. Isn't that cool?
I care to hear you speak now as well.
Yeah.
You've heard me speak enough.
If you're happily divorced, also tell us about that.
Yeah, and what led to it. If you are single,
did you cheat or were you cheated on the first year? I want to hear about that.
Yeah.
You know? That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. We're at an hour point. So
alrighty, perfect.
we will see y'all next time, whenever that is. Probably won't be in this studio. I can guarantee you it won't be. So, all right. Love you guys. See y'all next time.
See you guys.